Well put. And I guess I do agree with you that I think like a lot of these tribes are, and even politics is filling that gap in our soul that religion once held. And I guess not to go too into it, but I'm kind of a religious person too. You may be surprised to know because I'm also somebody who's a strict pure scientist.
I'm not actually.
You're not surprised.
I'm not surprised. No. I find the most passionate people have some belief. I don't know what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess what I think is, so I agree with you about the problem, and I agree with you that social media has exploited it, and I think it's making it worse. The only thing I think is, I think it's going to play out differently. So here's my bet. No, I don't know. Here's not my bet. I hope it doesn't happen. I pray it doesn't happen. But I think there's a non-0% chance it'll happen. Here's what I think is going to happen. Like, I think we don't realize that democracy is very fragile. And I'm not talking about like the Capitol riots because I don't think that's how it's going to play out. If I were to guess how it might play out, I think what you see on the left, people whom I used to be, I still am. I'm a progressive left person. We used to be people who like stood for like, I don't agree with what you say, but I will die to defend your right to say it.
Yeah.
And we're not that people anymore. And in fact, a number of surveys show that our ability to tolerate social media censorship has gone through the roof. Like we're really comfortable. Like delete that guy's post. That's wrong.
Totally.
That's wrong. Mandrola says 1 in 6,800. It's actually, I saw somebody say that like it was totally wrong because the real rate is 1 in 14,000. I was like, okay, what do you want? You want to hang this guy for 1 in 6,800? You think it's 1 in 14,000? Okay, close enough. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever.
come on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think like that our tolerance of censorship is higher. I think our tolerance of the brute force of government in times of crisis is higher. And you saw vociferous and passionate the forces of the left saying we want more lockdown, more restriction, more mask mandate, more these things. And it was the right that actually went the other way. And actually, it didn't have to be that way. I mean, one could imagine that if Trump announced in March, like, yes, we're going to do shelter in place. And by the way, I'm putting the troops in the streets. Then I think the left would have actually, they would have flipped their view.
Revolted it, yeah.
And they would have been the whole time be like, lockdowns are too much and it's too excessive. They literally anchored to, I think, the opposite of what he said.
That's right.
So anyway, here's what I think is going to happen.
Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah.
I think
it's a real thing.
And it's still going on.
Yeah, it is still.
You don't
Yeah.
cure yourself of that. It's a lifelong ailment. It's like herpes. It keeps
It gives Trump what he wants most, to be thought about all the time.
Yeah, he's achieved that.
Yeah.
Marvelously.
Yeah.
So what I think is going to happen is, the average flu season is about 40 to 60,000 deaths, roughly 40,000 deaths. There's inevitably going to be a flu season with 80 to 100,000 deaths in the next 15 years. And if you had a politician in office who was unscrupulous, this politician could do the following. They could say, look, by the way, hospitals down there, they're overwhelmed, actually. Some pocket in America is going to have overwhelmed hospitals.
Yeah.
Why? Because ICUs always run at like very high capacity because that's how you keep the profit in nonprofit.
Exactly right.
So they could say you have overwhelmed hospitals, and there's going to be some anecdote of a couple of kids who died. And then they're going to say, how many kids have to die? And the answer is even one kid dying is one too many. It's one too many. It is. That's what people say right now. That's why we have to, do all these things. So they say one kid dying is one too many. Hospitals are overwhelmed. We're announcing. I've called upon the governor to do shelter in place, and either he does it or she does it, or we're going to do it for them, because we can't have this again. We can't have SARS-CoV-2 again. This is a national emergency, and then the government, maybe the governor will go along with it. And then they'll say, you know what? You have to install on your phone a tracking software so we know your whereabouts at all time, because we can't have you breaking the rules of shelter in place, right? So you can install that on your phone. And then they say, you know what? Cases are still going up. There's still more kids coming in. Let me show you an anecdote of this boy not doing well, this girl not doing well. How can we live with that? We're going to put the troops in the street, and we're doing this for public health. You asked us to do this last time. We didn't do it. We screwed up. We agree. We're doing it this time. And then they say, like, you go on Twitter and you say, this is too much. This is brute force. I don't even know how many people. What's the denominator? How much of a risk is this? Then they say, you know what? Social media is over. You're shutting it down. That's misinformation. You're committing misinformation. You're killing people with your speech. You're dangerous. So your account is deleted. And if they won't comply, we'll storm their offices and we'll take over the social media account. And then the last thing you do is suspend elections, because the Constitution says the presidential election is guaranteed to occur on that date. But I don't think it mandates the path by which states pick the president. And the states can actually come up with delegates in other ways than a direct popular vote. And so I guess what I wish to portray in this nightmare scenario is that I don't think it will take that much for people to misuse the excesses of this pandemic to really achieve whatever political dominance you want. And you don't need a bad flu season. You don't need a lot, because as we see, what percentage of the kids who are hospitalized require O2? What percentage of the kids who are hospitalized, these statistics are very difficult to get. So all I need to do is just show you a few videos of a few kids on the vent, and it's over. You have no fighting chance. And you can't even question my facts. You can't question the policy, because you yourself have said, if it's a matter of life or death, I can censor your speech. So I will do so.